And since we're now assigning individual squads, then we say, okay, this squad, you're attacking this building, and then on that specific building, you'd give a breach point like door left side or window right side or something similar, or blow a hole in the compound wall or whatever you think is a clever solution. Usually left up to the squad leader. You just basically say, okay, target area is Mustra. I want first squad breaching, and they're gonna take this house first. But you can go ahead and micromanage them if you, or manage them further if you feel that's a good idea.
So sorry, this thing you've called in a Danish way, is that like your entry point in the target area, something like that?
Yeah. Basically, where you're breaching an enemy defense, so gonna wipe some shit off the map here.
Okay.
But yeah, if you imagine Mustra as an enemy target, and they have a defense setup, then what we're briefing for here is saying, okay, the red line is the target area. I want that line breached at this house. And I want that done by first squad. The rest of the squads will be on platoon line, providing covering fire. I want first squad and fourth squad to provide cover fire, while the second squad is breaching. And we will reorganize at a designated point, for instance, this tree line. That's our reorg position. So we're going to push through the enemy and reorganize. And finally, the report section where you say, okay, squad leaders, when you're ready, you report to me on the net, or you squad leaders report to weapons section when you're ready, and then weapons sections open fire and everyone follows up, or tell to IC or whatever, basically. There's a lot of options for that. So just to go over again, first off, target, what's the platoon's target? Where should we breach? What formation should we move in? Which squad will be providing support / security? Which squad will be assault and breaching? And where do we reorganize once we've done the assault? And who do you report ready to? In that sense, you can also, if necessary, give a limit of advance. If you expect things to get disorganized, or if you have a lot of units working, then in order to not get separated, you can assign a limit of advance. It could be this green line here. It can be a bit hard to do in woodland terrain, but you could say that the limit of advance is this clearing here. If you see a clearing, then you know you've gone you have attacked too far. And that could be because we might have an armor unit providing overwatch, and they're basically cleared hard on anything east of that clearing or whatever. Or it could just be that if you get further than this clearing, we're not going to be able to know it's you, and we're probably going to end up either engaging you or losing you because we can't find each other or whatever. This actually went a lot faster than I expected. So, any questions on the basic terminology of doing assaults?
No, good stuff. Really.
Yeah, it's probably pretty familiar stuff to you guys, right?
Yep, pretty familiar. Good to get the wording down.
And having said that, Godhand, that it's familiar, this seems like in the interest of keeping the gameplay good, being the dungeon master, so to speak. This is one of those other aspects where you want to keep it in your back pocket and be aware of thinking stuff, and to avoid micromanaging. If you think that your sections are at all capable of this, give them broad orders. Don't try to give them too detailed of orders, so that they can decide a lot of this stuff for themselves.
Yeah, and especially when doing this, you can easily end up being that platoon leader who goes down to every single section and say, okay, you are to attack that building, you're to attack that building, etc., etc. But when doing a platoon up like this, you basically just want to say, okay, I want platoon line. We're going. I'm going to here. That's our storm line. I want these elements being support units. I want this element assaulting. I want this assault element breaching the enemy defense here, and then I'm gonna follow up with units as I see fit. We're gonna push through, and we're gonna reorganize at this or that point. And that should actually be what you have to say as a platoon leader. Then your squad leader should be able to get ready, report to you. Okay, 1 ready, 2 ready, 3 ready, 4 ready. Okay, all elements fire. Attacking. Okay, 2 squad attack. 2 squads attacked. Okay, 2 squad made the breach. 3 squad attack. Attack on 2's recommendation. So 2 recommends a point. Okay, 3 attacks. 2 has cleared his compound. Okay, 1 or 2. What do you want? 3. I want him over there. Okay, fucking take him over there and then just push on through the enemy line until you reorg point. But yeah, that's another point I would really like more squad leaders to do is provide recommendations. Basically, whenever you and you can do that as a platoon leader as well. Whenever you get into a position and you're in contact or have eyes on enemies, then give a recommendation. Like I have eyes on 2 times T72. Recommend weapons team on my position with the dragon, for instance. Or I am in contact 1 times enemy fire team. Recommend platoon halts while I destroy them. Or I'm in contact with the enemy squad plus. Recommend platoon form line on me. And the platoon leader initiate flanking movements.
Yeah, and having said that, you can even do that within the section as well, if you're a fire team leader. Definitely.
And in my opinion, anyone should actually come with recommendations. The problem with encouraging that is some people tend to take that as they have to come up with the entire battle plan themselves. But basically, what you should do as a fire team leader or fire team member is just say, fuck, contact right, recommend the forming line, or recommend we get the platoon up online.
Right.
But yeah, whenever I get back to teaching regular UOTC courses, I should probably try and teach people that one.
Well, it's hard to say when it's best presented. Because you don't want people to start debating stuff with their section leader either.
Exactly. That's hard to point out enough that it's good to give a recommendation. It's bad to argue.
Yeah.
Plus, it wastes your time and the section leader's time. Fucks everything up.
Yeah, it should basically be a recommendation. Should just be blurted out, and then the team leader should just say no or wait as he figures out what's actually going to be done.
Yeah, maybe point out that the difference between making a suggestion and arguing is if you say it once quickly, you're suggesting. If you're continuing to talk about it, you're arguing.
Yeah, exactly. Hey guys, just see. I got too many files in my Google Docs now. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what I was thinking now is, if you, I was thinking either I could start out by doing giving you guys an operational order just to give you a feel of how they should sound. I could actually just paste it in the Google Doc, and you could read it when you feel like it. And then I was actually thinking about having you guys giving you a situation and mission, and then having you fill out basically fill out the rest of that up order and trying just tell us how you want to execute that and how you want to do your.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, so basically just come like we did last time with defensive positions. We're gonna make up a scenario, and you're gonna try and see how would you actually do this, and you just get a basic light infantry platoon. And I've abused this map, so you don't get this.
Whoa, new page.
There we go.
New maps.
Oh yeah, cool. Does anyone wanna step up?
I'll go.
Okay, Jibbo. First off, can anyone remember the success criteria for what's it called? For ORV?
It has to be either out of range or one turn feature away from the enemy, beyond sight and or hearing, and there's one more which I can't remember.
Nice.
Out of the lanes of drift.
Yes.
So not somewhere where they would be patrolling.
So is this a crappy ORV I just put down? It is, isn't it? I put down ORV right next to an MSR. If the enemy drives by with a patrol, the whole ORV is fucked.
Can I see it?
Fuck. Yeah, it's in Scribbler. Red dot I put down, typed ORV next to it.
It's in 110064.
But how do I get the
Oh yeah, sorry.
the drawing stuff to come up?
I will give it to you now.
Oh, okay.
That's because you can only set this aside for one thing. You can either make all of you moderators, or I can have to individually assign you powers.
Okay. So the this.
Yeah, I'm gonna make up a situation now. Sorry. Put in a little teaching example.
That MSR up to the north there, that position, it was very heavily mined.
It does? See. Okay, so you got these fancy little spot markers, and the UORV will be in here in the tree line, so you're nice and hidden. Your the situation is the company is going to be conducting an assault on Gorka, and in connection to that, your platoon is to take Hill 291 on the south side of Gorka in order to prevent the enemy from attacking with the RPGs, while the rest of the company moves in from the north. I'm gonna mark that company anyway.
Big open area.
I'm sorry, do you mind repeating that? Because I was fighting with Scribbler. I couldn't see a damn thing. I had to reload it.
Okay. So the company is assaulting Gorka. The enemy in there is a platoon strength element with platoon strength element. And your platoon is tasked with taking the hill on the south side of Gorka in order to prevent the enemy from using RPGs to hit your two other platoons as they advance into Gorka.
Got it.
Yeah, the enemy is your basic light infantry, and we assume they put their weapon section up on Hill 291. Just gonna put in the weapons team suspected field of fire.
Okay. So what we're going to do is the platoon will swing around swing around south of the mountain at 110068, which is Dubino or Dubina.
I think so.
Seen?
Yep.
And we're going to swing southwest of the town of Polina, using the terrain for cover, working down on the east side of the mountain and the east side of Polina, and then we're going to form up for an assault towards the position on Hill 291 to the northwest of Polina, and everyone will form up on report line Zebra, and we're going to proceed up the hill, basically in a platoon, 2 up until baseline Bronco, which will be the start of our assault. And the intent is for weapons to provide a base of fire from position marked on the map. Still getting used to this scribbler.
Don't worry.
Anyway, and the assault will come from the southwest of the suspected weapons position on Hill 291. something like that. And is that fairly good, Godhand, for an idea for what our assault will be, or should I get into more detail than that?
I would go into more details on which squads are to do what and when.
Would it be sufficient so everybody can get going to say? No, it wouldn't be sufficient to say that it'd be further details at Phase Line Bronco, because you want everybody to know what your intent is before you leave, right?
Yeah.
So we'll be
basically think of this as the time you have to explain what's going to go down before there is a company out there waiting for you to finish this objective so they can move into the town.
So this is when I kind of say that one section and two section and three section will be lined up sequentially, and they will be bounding up for cover they have to assault the position on Hill 291. Three section on the far south west and one section on the top northeast.
Okay.
Now the reporting line and the phasing lines, they are extending to the northeast, but that's probably a little too much more than what we're interested in, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if it helps to shorten them, I'd shorten them. But really, I'm just trying to describe the limit of our advance.
Don't worry about shortening them.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're just to describe that we're not to move any further northwest of those positions. So everybody's supposed to be reporting in by report line 0. Actually get ready for the final assault at Phase Line Bronco. So, criticism?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I go. Cooperative learning for the win. Okay, guess I'll go then. No one has anything constructive to tell Jimbo?
Well,
Come on,
I could add some things if you want.
Right on, Bloodman.
Well, so one thing, I was looking at this too, and you're kind of stuck behind a rock in a hard place where you can do it the quick way and you've got a giant field, or you can go the slow way and do this kind of super flank. And I think this is really the only reasonable way to do it, because the other way you're just, unless you know you have overwhelming firepower, you're just going to die. I do think this kind of like bounding up the report line, phase line bound thing is a good idea. Yeah, I mean, given the assets available to you, this looks pretty good. I might even, I think it would kind of depend on the lines of sight from the base of fire position, but I might even push that left-hand squad like all the way into the tree line when they're assaulting up, so that they're not just kind of bounding up through that open terrain. Because I would assume by the time assuming the enemy's paying attention and watching their flanks, they're gonna see a squad start to move in the open towards them if they don't detect you before then. I guess kind of going around the first hill, the Dubina, I might even go further east because if they're once again, if they have good flank security, they might see you moving into the town, be able to call indirect fires or something on you. But again, that I think kind of depends on enemy capabilities and whether or not they.
What the fuck?
What the hell?
How'd that happen?
And whether or not they whether or not you think that you're going to be detected moving through there. I mean, like if it's at night or something, you might want to go that way because it'll be quicker. If it's the middle of the day, you might go further east because you'll have a little more concealment. But I mean, I think in general the basic setup is right on. I would just,
And good so you know, I picked that route because looking at the topography, the spot here, this little blob. I think the terrain might keep us fairly shielded as we're coming down here.
Yeah, and that would definitely be a thing to figure out on the ground. Yep, yeah. Yeah, because if that works, then it'd be much quicker than going all the way around.
And then the other thing that I thought of is along the road, just up from our position. Usually, a road like that has a cut bank that we could use. We could use that as a handrail.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good point.
Given the topography in that area, I think we might be able to work our way up into the timber. We might be able to work its way up. And the one thing I'm concerned about is from the base of fire, I don't know if I have a line of sight on the top of that hill. It doesn't look like it.
Yeah, I got a comment on that. Sorry if I stopped before, but you were kind of breaking up. Okay, advancing all the way to the phasing line, it looks good, I think. At that point, going around to the west and northwest, I think that's where you're the most exposed looking downhill, because yes, there is vegetation, but there is line of sight as well that you get across. There is a road going up. That road might be patrolled, guarded. Now, instead, if you look at the base of fire, black splotch, and then you draw pretty much a straight line to the top of the hill, there's that sort of well, little valley. Yeah, exactly that, kind of a sag in the lines, and that will probably keep the enemy from seeing you until you're nearly at the top. Yes, but you are not in any cover pretty much.
Okay, then I'm gonna be doing some critique. First off, Jimbo, congratulations, you didn't fall into the trap. I actually intentionally made this so you would think, okay, fuck, we need to move and get across this open field, but you take your time through the this little valley, go up into Polina. Going into a town is always a consideration because just because you know there's most likely enemies in Gorka doesn't mean that it couldn't be enemies in Polina. But in this case, we're going to assume there isn't because we hadn't had any contacts with elements there, and the enemy shouldn't be interested in Polina. So that's good. Moving through there. One point is when you put down a report line, then you actually, in my world, you're assuming that people are just going to walk past that. So they're just going to be, okay, zebra, out. And then they're going to keep walking to Bronco. So you might want to put that up as a phase line as well.
As a phase line?
Yeah, because you don't, as I understand, you don't want people crossing that line before you allowed it. So yeah, that could be your first phase line, and then you could actually just treat Bronco as your storm line, which is essentially a phase line. So that's not wrong to just call a phase line Bronco. I also like your plan for having a base of fire on that weapon squad, and then flanking up. You might want to put in some more detail, especially you could use this this fucked up misfractor I tried using, where you give where you just say, okay, we got the target. That's an enemy squad on the hilltop. We have one sec. Yeah, we have the breach point. You don't really give a breach point, and on these distances, what I would want to do would actually be to say assign a breach point, and it's obviously a bit hard here, but you can just say where you want the first squad to assault towards the enemy, and since we're expecting the enemy to mostly be watching the MSR to the north, you could actually expect to be able to get pretty close. So you could if you're feeling pretty sexy, you could actually have a storm line here, then have your squads get up there.
That's a really good point.
And then when they got up there, then they're fucking 1 and 2 suppress fire, 3 push in. Then you can say, okay, I just want a breach point right here where the red dot is coming up, and then the middle squad's just gonna breach straight up into that contact, regroup up here, get eyes on Gorka, be ready to fight. The next 2 squads are gonna regroup up on his flanks, base of fire element, follow up, get up here, get eyes on target, and then you have reorganized